So, how do we speak now? I'm so happy you're here. Now, this is going to be very exciting. I'm so excited that I can help other experts or other people that want to learn a specific language, want to move, want to communicate. This is what worked for my students and for the 2 test runs, and this will work for you. Okay. Now, just to get this right, you probably have this feeling of, okay, I understand the language somehow, more or less, and I'm able to recognize patterns and words, right? But why can't I speak? You know, why I'm not fluent and everything. Now, as you can see here, it's not because of you in general, the way you were training, right? And this is what helped me. You know, my desire was always like, what is the natural way and the organic way of doing this? I like natural and organic stuff. You know, I don't like artificial stuff. And, you know, when I was here, moved from Germany to Uruguay with zero Spanish, I need something that works for me, that is just organic, just natural, you know, because I thought there has to be some kind of natural way to do this, you know. How we are made determines the way we process and learn and thrive, obviously, right? And I wanted to discover, how am I made? What is my brain doing while I'm learning the language? And that's something we want to discover together. It's that feeling of moving into another country, like I did, you know, and you kind of, I mean, you probably use some kind of form of language to communicate. I hear a lot of people in, for example, people that live in Germany, they can survive with English. Most of them can survive with English, but it's, you know, it's surviving. It's not living. It's not integrating. It's not being part of culture, you know, society and everything. And then also you have a lot of problems, you know, with not understanding and not being able to speak and articulate yourself in a certain way. For me, it was Uruguay, you know, but for other people, it's other countries, other languages. Again, the problem is not you, it's the way you were training, and that's why I to train the neurological way. And thank God I found this pattern and method that worked for me, and I realized that, wow, this is actually working. And then it worked for others. And when I was checking it with neurologists, it was so amazing because they kind of confirmed what I was doing, gave me more knowledge about it. You know, let me put it down like that. Comprehension happens in another part of the brain. It's more motorical stuff. You could say in the primary cortex, there's a lot of things happening with speaking and the preparation of the nerves for speaking and all of that. But, you know, I don't know if that science or knowledge helps you. It's just important for you to understand it's a different location, right? One thing that was so stunning for me was that I looked at the words, I heard words, and I realized, okay, that's probably what they mean. But when I was trying to say it, like nothing would come out. I couldn't even remember in that specific situation. I want to say that word, you know, you listen, you know, but the moment I see it, I get it. So it has to be somewhere in there in my system, locked and well stored, but not ready to use. And I thought, that's not how this is supposed to work. You know, that there has to be some kind of link. And that's what you see here in this presentation, that the traditional learning neglects this transfer. Not always, but for a lot of people, it was like that. And that's what we want to change, right? Okay. Now, let me tell you something. I want to train you to create a habit, okay? Because now the way you actually train that part of your brain to speak is literally like fitness, you know, it's literally like muscle training. Okay. Now you don't do muscle training, you know, you literally need to use your mouth as possible. And now it's important, in the correct way. Okay. Any one of you, if you have ever done fitness before, it's so important to do the fitness training the right way. You can hurt yourself, or you simply don't train the specific part you want to train. You would probably train then other things, you know. I'm not too much into fitness training actually, but you can apply this to language learning. So if you want to specifically train your speaking, you have to do certain things. You have to understand what to do when. Now, I'm going to ask you, create a schedule, and I'm trying to help you to create a schedule that works from Monday to Friday. And then we have a break. What's that for? You need a break. Why? Because, first of all, language learning should be a habit, okay? Because, like, just like fitness training, okay, it should become a habit that helps you to stay fit. Whenever you have that moment of feel like, oh, I feel like I'm fit, then you have to stay fit, you know? So the first phase is obviously to get fit, but once we're there, we have to stay fit. So what I'm teaching you is something that will accompany you, I mean, kind of the rest of your life, if you will. So you won't do this every day. Okay. It's just the truth. Okay. You won't do it. And if you try to do it, you probably do it like for a few weeks and then, you don't. You're like done with this. And then you're like, I don't want this. I'm overdone. And the thing is this, you need a break to stay motivated. Okay. So you have a training phase and then you have a break. And then the other thing is you need to regenerate. Just like, again, fitness training, you need to regenerate. You know that phrase, let it sink in. Just give it some time, let it sink in, and then it will help you in the next phase. Okay. So we are creating pre-knowledge and then you work on pre-knowledge and work on pre-knowledge and it's like that. It's actually exponential curve that you're doing. So when you're starting to learn exponential curve, you remember that curve? When you start to do fitness, your muscle won't just pop up, pop out or something. So don't be shocked, don't be frustrated. Just trust the process. So we did this before, that's why we did 2 test runs and it worked. I'm here, I'm the testimony myself. So you start to do it and you're just like, this is so weird, does this really help and all that stuff? But yes, and then you create momentum and create momentum. And honestly, I would tell you this, depends on the brain and the pre-knowledge everyone has. You could say that after about 2-3 weeks in the program, you can start that, okay, there's something going on. The motor is running, so I'm getting warm with this. So please trust the process, okay? So what I'm giving you is mind blowing, and it's bringing you transformation because you are creating a habit that is going to be the perfect base for becoming fluent, okay? Trust the process. That's important.